Welcome to another episode of the BWC podcast, where we have real talk with real estate agents. Today, I'm joined by our off-plan sales director, Antonio. So Antonio has been with the business for a short period of time now, but we want to rewind all the way back to where it began. You know, our roots started in the same country. I want to rewind all the way back to, let's talk through your journey to now. You know, you're only 23 years old.
24
years old, and in a really senior position within the company, leading a team. How did you get to this point? So if we rewind all the way back, you know, post South Africa, talk us through it. Talk us through it from the beginning.
Yeah, well, first, Matt, really thank you for the opportunity. I always, I really feel privileged that something I have to say would be something worth hearing.
Absolutely.
As you say, I was born in South Africa. After that, I moved to Croatia. I was quite young at the time, so I think also living in now the fourth country definitely helped, I would say, for me to get a...
What do those say? When did you move from South Africa to Croatia?
I was about 7 years old.
Okay.
So I was in my second grade of primary school in South Africa.
Yeah.
I started a bit earlier. I started at 5.
Okay.
So I moved just before I started learning Afrikaans.
Just got away from it.
Yes, just got away from it. And I moved to Croatia, got into primary school there. I didn't know the language at all.
Did you have zero? Was that sort of a local school language, or was it an international school?
Local school, yeah. So there was like, and it's a hard language. It's a complicated language.
Yeah.
Very different to English for sure. And I started in second grade as well. So I kind of actually joined, I was the same age as my peers, which was pretty good.
Okay. So actually set you back a year or anything?
No. I went straight in and I listened to 1 year without being graded. Okay. Just so I pick up on the language and everything.
Okay.
And then I started with my normal generation in second grade and did my primary school there.
And what was life in Croatia like?
Honestly, really nice. Yeah. You know, the thing is, you don't know when
you compare it to South Africa. Can you kind of remember what was life from a young age?
I remember quite a lot from South Africa. Okay. We lived on a big plot, which was really nice.
Typical.
Yeah, my dad was a horse racing trainer, so we had a lot of horses on the plot.
Okay.
We had a lot of animals. I grew up with a lot of animals. My grandpa used to have a big bird archarium with like 50, 100 birds, which was really cool.
Amazing.
We had a lot of
What
dogs.
triggered that move to Croatia then?
The crime, you know, it was quite bad, yeah. And we got robbed several times, and it was just a dangerous place to kind of be. And my dad's Croatian, so we were supposed to move to Australia, but the borders got shut down because of some disease at the time. Some quarantine happened.
Yes.
So we literally had nowhere to live. So we thought, why don't we move to Croatia? So it was quite random. So we decided
Croatian.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
same as
just good for the fans.
Very difficult. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Today she speaks kind of Croatian, but not as good as I'm fluent basically.
How quickly did you pick it up once you were there?
2-3 years, to be honest. It took me about 2-3 years. I had to learn quickly because I joined school after a year. So yeah, that was I would say I was good. I think that's the best way to learn, to just put yourself in that environment, and you have no other option but to pick up on your surroundings and
absolutely
adapt.
Absolutely.
So school was good. I did feel a little bit like an outsider, though. I think it was because in Croatia, everyone's the same. There is not much. There's no diversity in terms of people from different countries or racial diversity or anything. Everyone's kind of brought up there. Yeah. Everyone was born there. Their parents were born there, from a 20-kilometer, 50-kilometer radius around the school, you know. So
not a big South African community there either.
No. I knew maybe one South African person in Croatia besides me. Yeah. And of course my mom and my sister. That's about it.
And then where to from there?
After I was a good student in school. I was very curious. My teachers hated me and loved me because I always asked a lot of questions. And
nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed for sure. But after primary school, I decided to get into like a gymnasium. It's like a general, because in Croatia we have the separation of specific schools that cater towards economy or towards construction or towards a hairdressing school or whatever.
Like industry-specific schools?
Industry-specific schools,
At what point do you go to like a high school?
High school, yeah. So after you're about 14 at the time.
All your classes are curated around that?
Yes, exactly. There are always some subjects that are, of course, basic, but...
I've never heard of that before.
It's super good, to be honest. It's really good.
Become quite specialized.
You become, so after high school...
Because it's quite difficult to make a decision at that age, though.
It is. It's very difficult.
I think I imagine trying to like help you, but
100%.
I remember back to when I was in school, and you're like, I think this is what I want to pursue at university, but you're not even sure that.
Yeah, there's no idea.
Then find it out.
It's tough, yeah. Because of that, I decided to go. There's something called the gymnasium, which is a general school, so you have no degree after it, but you get some general knowledge.
Okay.
So we have subjects like ethics and philosophy and a lot of like just basic maths, biology, all of those things.
Yeah.
I was a good student. I always had good grades. I wasn't really a heavy learner in terms of, I didn't really have much work ethic, but I just listened very well in class. And
do you have any idea of what you wanted to do then? I know kind of a more general school, but then whilst you were there, you start to understand, like, I think this is what kind of I'm going to go into afterwards. Did you have some kind of a view, or at this stage still nothing?
Yeah, well, towards the end of primary school, I wanted to get into like sports professionally. I was always in sports through my whole life, and I always felt like sports is a really nice way to be able to express yourself. And
which sports are those that you were?
I did a lot of sports. I did
team sports, individual sports.
I did a lot of swimming when I was like 3-4 years in South Africa.
Yeah.
Horse riding. I did jiu-jitsu. I did football. I did Kyokushin karate. I did savate box. I did I did a lot of martial arts. I did basketball. I really liked.
Big in Croatia, obviously.
Yeah, it's quite big. Yeah, for sure. But then I got into mountain biking and more extreme sports.
That is a very extreme sport. That.
Yeah. And
how many broken bones did you get to mountain biking?
I broke my left arm 3 times, my right arm twice, my collarbone once, my leg once.
Jesus.
Yeah, my first day of high school, I actually showed up in full casts on my both arms and a completely shattered collarbone. So I had like 7 broken bones. So that was my first day in high school.
Was that in Croatia that you could do this? Or
that was in Croatia.
Mainly like traveling to different Alps to go do it? Or
in Croatia, yes, there is. We have a mountain called Medvednica.
Okay.
And that's where I did a lot of riding. But I also started traveling, to Slovenia, to Montenegro, I just kind of started, a lot of nice places.
Okay.
And I was always a thrill seeker, so I really found a lot of satisfaction in I would say pushing myself to beyond my limits, and that's why I broke a lot of bones. But
nothing's changed once again.
No, for sure, 100%. Yeah, but now I break less bones at least, so that's good.
And then, and where did you go to after that? So you at the generalist high school, and then did you kind of narrow that down into where you wanted to go afterwards?
So when I was 14, 15, all I wanted to do is become the world champion in downhill mountain bike racing.
Wow.
And I thought I had a lot of potential. I just started getting involved in the national kind of racing scene and everything. But the problem was I didn't really have enough money to be able to fund proper equipment and all of that.
Because I guess like any in sports, so if you pursue a sport,
you need to have support in terms of that.
Exactly, you're putting a lot of money into it before you've seen anything.
100%, right? 100%. And of course, my parents supported me as much as they could, but just the bike's like £4,000 or £5,000, so it's expensive. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I was 15, I fell into very big depression. I studied a lot on it. People call it the dark
thing. That was
dark night of the soul. They call it. When you basically your ego kind of shatters and your whole meaning of what you developed in life for yourself breaks because
That's kind of when the realization came that this wasn't going to be something that you pursue forever.
Yes, I was 15 at the time, and it's a big thing. Like that one summer, I broke my arm in the beginning of the summer. 6 weeks later, I broke my leg, and then 6 weeks later, I broke both of my arms and my collarbone at the same time. And you can imagine I got picked up by the ambulance on the mountain, and my dad just received a call from the ambulance that your son's being taken to the hospital. My mom got a call from my dad, pissed off because my mom was kind of supporting me in that and my dad wasn't for it. So my mom just got a call.
It's not in the expensive equipment, it's all the doctor's bills, I guess.
Oh, it's free. It's free, completely free there. Healthcare is completely free. So, but of course,
hated the downhill cyclist there.
Man, my mom was, she just got a call from my dad saying your son's been taken to the hospital. And that's it. So she didn't know if I was okay. I was fine. I mean, I was I was fine. I still had a lot of ambition in terms of what I wanted to do in life, and that just put me in the position where I really had to reconsider whether it's worth it. And also I felt guilty putting my parents through so much stress.
Makes sense.
So I decided to kind of drop that, and that was the hardest probably thing that ever
dropped it like professionally, but you were still
I had to drop it completely because the recovery had to take at least a year because I had to go through a lot of physical therapy and all of that. And high school was just getting started, so that was tough. And I think the best thing that can happen to us is to hit rock bottom, because then we reconstruct ourselves.
Couldn't agree more.
And really develops a lot of depth in terms of appreciating certain things. So I found out a lot about myself that I never really knew before.
Okay.
Like I started reading. I started liking philosophy, art, music.
Amazing.
I started doing a lot of personal development because, of course, I journaled a lot at the time, and I read a lot of books.
Why you couldn't go during the time where you couldn't really do sports at all, so you kind of
Yeah, exactly.
so in recovery, so
For sure.
reading, picking up other things.
I did recover like after about a month or two, but of course I couldn't do heavy sporting for at least half a year.
Yeah.
But one thing I decided then is, since I was brought up that I needed to have a direction to go towards, I needed to have a certain goal to aim towards. So I wasn't able to just wake up every day not knowing why.
Yes, you have to have like kind of North Star.
Yeah, 100%. Because everything I'm doing every day has to be bringing me closer to that. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time here, right?
Absolutely.
So what happened was I just decided that I don't know what I want, but one thing I can say is I want to be the best version of myself in every way. I want to be fitness-wise, health-wise, financially. That's when I started working on myself financially, and reading books, from Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game, Robert Kiyosaki. Started reading.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was 15 at the time, so I literally spent half of my school recessions just on earphones listening.
Did you try anything, any kind of small businesses at that age, or you kind of just soaking up all the knowledge, learning all these new things through these mentors and through these books?
I did. When I was 16 years old, I got approached from a network marketing company, direct sales.
Yeah.
And I absolutely fell in love with the concept.
How did they reach out to you? Like, what kind of?
It was pretty random. It was on social media.
And you thought, let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought it was because I was very proactive, and I was so desperate to start working towards something that I went on Facebook and I searched, investing groups and economy groups and all of that. And I found a group on Facebook called the Economical Club or something like that, Financial Club.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was a group from a university, the Economical University in Croatia. So what I did is I signed up and I showed up. I went there, I put my suit on, and it was actually a group from the university. So I was 15, 16 at the time. Everyone were university students, and I was just there. And, it wasn't that productive. There were some very interesting things, but I felt great because I was doing something. I was putting effort,
Yeah.
And
too amazing also what happens when you put yourself in an uncomfortable environment like that. You say you're the youngest in the room, and these people, you walk in there and you're like, wow, but putting yourself in those comfortable positions is the only way you can grow,
100%. And I think it's also not, some people feel that discomfort and use that as something that will stop them from doing it. I felt proud because I knew I was doing something that most people weren't. And that's the kind of mentality I kind of used for that.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks after that, I got randomly approached for it. Came to an opportunity meeting, and I liked it. And when I was 16, I invested my first little bit of money. I had a bit of money saved off from selling my bike because, of course,
that was gone.
That was gone.
Nice.
Yeah, I got like 2,000 pounds from selling my bike, so that was good. I bought a camera. I started doing photography, and that's where my hobby for photography really deepened.
Okay.
I still do photography today.
What more like, what kind of photography were you doing at that stage? Is it?
It was, I loved...
It was more like corporates, were you doing it for people?
No, I was just doing it for myself. I just loved capturing, I loved life in general. Moments, capturing nature. I loved macro photography with close-ups.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved landscape photography.
You couldn't take a better time to be able to get that kind of photography.
Yeah. I'd literally...
so much natural beauty there.
100%. I'd literally go in my garden and take photos of bees up close and flowers and shit. And that was pretty cool. And I think it's important for us to develop a hobby for creativity as well.
Absolutely.
I think we're all creative spirits, and we need to express that.
My dad's actually also into photography. I mean,
nice.
It was bread and butter, but now that he's retired, I think in the last 10 years leading up to retirement, he picked it up, went through all the courses, and now that he's kind of dropped the core job, I can see it's a passion.
It is.
Right? Any other weekend, that's what he's doing. He's editing the photos because I'm passionate. It's so important to have that.
100%. I think, we're all... Passion is probably one of the most humane things. And I think everyone that's not living a life with as much passion as possible is really missing out on what life has to offer.
Absolutely.
So after that, I started I started with direct sales. I was,
So you got reached out. These guys reached out to you and
Yeah.
had a position for you.
exactly, it was loads
What
of
did they
sales.
sources for? Did they? What was the?
That was,
mandate? What was the role to come in as?
It was basically like a sales representative. So I got a commission on selling products in nutrition.
Commission only? Or?
Commission only, yeah.
Fine. Okay.
So I invested money.
First job you went into. That's kind of
Yes,
what you're
exactly,
Okay.
which is probably the best thing I did.
Absolutely, yeah.
because I at an early stage developed really good sales skills.
And hustle mentality, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
there's no kind of stable income. It's either I put in the work and I get the results, and that's the only thing that's going to keep me through the month.
Yeah, it's you on your own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of people, I'd say, feel insecure getting into a commission-only role, but
I think so many people.
I think that shows the lack of security in oneself.
I think a commission on your role is entrepreneurship in itself as well.
100%.
Being out there, your time, although it might not be dictated completely up to you, but those additional hours you spend directly related to what's going into your pocket.
For sure. And if you're able to rely on yourself, why would you be afraid of a commission-only role? I was always confident.
I always like to think that actually it's kind of like if someone's going in with that mentality, I just want commission, that someone,
He's
really
confident
results.
in-
They're confident in their ability and they know they're going to get the results.
Yeah,
If you
sure.
don't need any prediction or plan B, it's like
100%.
confidence I can achieve this.
100%.
So how was that first job for you going into a sales role?
That was I did it for 6 years.
Wow.
So that developed.
Talk us through that journey, how you went from starting as someone that this is their first job into a managerial position after 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, after about 2-3 years, I opened up my own company. I very quickly, after about a year, took on a leadership role in the company. I started building my own team. Amazing. And we went from a small office of maybe 200 square foot to a 4,000 square foot office that was fully on my name, and I had to manage together with 2-3 other really good friends, manage everything.
It's crazy. So that all sounds incredible, but there must be a few challenges along the way, right?
So many challenges.
What do you think the most difficult thing was?
It was really tough.
Journey.
Well, of course, in Croatia, the mentality is quite a bit more traditional. So I had a lot of, I would say, people. I did have a certain level of support, of course. People do have that tendency to support hustlers, but also, 16, 17, you're a kid.
Yeah.
So,
when you started managing a team, were they some of your teammates older than you?
Oh, all of them were older. Really? I never had anyone that was under 18, 19. Everyone was older. I had people in my team that were triple my age. But I never had a lack of confidence because I knew I was confident in my ability to deliver and to.
I'm a big believer that's all you need as well. Age is just a number,
Oh, for sure.
Case in point, and the others out there as well that are coming into the industry at a young age and improving that ability from the get-go.
100%. And you learn from your own mistakes. Then once you learn from your own mistakes, you can teach others so they learn from your mistakes rather than theirs.
Absolutely.
And I got into public speaking very quickly. I had to do a lot of presentations, a lot of business opportunity presentations, and was of course challenging. Being 16, 17, having to stand up in a room in front of people that are 30, 40, have much more experience. But I always did it with passion, with energy, I was always genuine, and I think that really takes you far. Takes you far.
That it comes across in your presentation. I feel you got that genuineness to it, and I know you do when you speak to the lads, in the office or whenever you're presenting. I think it's that authenticity and that genuineness definitely comes through.
Thank you. I appreciate
presentations. So talk us through what happened there, and then you decided, okay, I want to go into bigger and better things.
Yeah, after 6 years of that, we got to a point where we opened up, several different offices. Managed a team of 80, 90 people at one time. We had presentations with literally.
How many of you guys were actually writing it at that stage?
Of course, we all were. I like to think of it as as a team.
Yeah.
We're only as good as our weakest link, you could say. But we really, of course, we had layers.
I really like that attitude. I really do, and I think we've applied it here at BWC, where we kind of. But at least I like to say, everyone joining the business should consider themselves founders.
Yeah.
You're in an early stage business as ours, 12 months into the journey, just less than 12 months into the journey. Everyone's a founder. Everyone's still creating,
for sure,
and feeding into the brand.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. Of course, there were challenges, throughout the way. We had people not really understanding the business concept very well and was presenting it, and had to go through a lot of hate, of course. Got into some bad press even. When I was 19 years old, I did some financially stupid mistakes that I shouldn't have, and got into some tax problems, like probably £50,000 of debts at 19 years old.
That you once,
it just that.
You could just sleep over that at night.
Oh, that was stressful. But
how did you get through that? Because, you know, other people are going through challenges and these big things happen. You know, how did you find the easiest way to overcome something like that, where, especially if it's such a public image?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, honestly, I just used it as fuel. I just used it as motivation. I knew that even before I got started, I knew that big things require big obstacles, and I was happy seeing those obstacles because that was proof that I was on the right way.
Absolutely.
And if everything was easy, I wouldn't have been doing something that would have led to success.
Absolutely.
So I think it's all, you know, the approach we take, and I never looked at those things as setbacks, but just signs.
Any of those setbacks or failures are what makes us stronger and able, you know, allows us to go even further.
100%. Of course, at the time, you don't see that. No. You don't feel like that. But after you go through it and you learn from it, and it develops depth, and it strengthens your skin, you know. Mm-hmm. And once you've gone through big problems, later on when little problems come across, they're 10 times easier to deal with because you've dealt with worse stuff in the past.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that was great. I moved to London after 4 or 5 years when I was about 21.
Okay.
Because
so what triggered the move to London?
I thought maybe, you know, expanding the business in the UK would be a bit different, a bit easier. I was always seeking adventure, and I liked the idea of that.
It's a major business hub in the world as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Coming from Croatia, you wanting
it's a much bigger market.
New York, Dubai. So.
Of course, Croatia is a 4 million people, you know, country, and just London alone, it's about 10 million people. So I thought I could expand things much bigger there. And my mom and sister were living there at the time. So, of course, made a bit easier the move.
Yeah.
So I moved there and started working over there, started looking.
That must have been a shock to the system, going from South Africa to Croatia, some of the best weather in the world.
Yes, to be honest, I liked it. I mean, I didn't mind it. You know, I was happy because finally when I got back into London, I brought my bicycle. And I started riding again. Back on it after 5 years.
3 grand later.
After 5 years, imagine. And I fell in love with it again, but from a hobby perspective, not professionally.
Got you. Where would you go in London? Because I feel that you go out into that.
There's so many bike parks. We go to Wales, to Bike Park Wales. We go to Surrey Hills, which is right close, with many bike parks. So I moved to London. I didn't know anyone there. Funny thing is, I met 2-3 friends through Facebook groups, mountain biking groups.
Okay.
And literally, even today, I have a group on WhatsApp called Surrey Hills Crew. There's almost 40 people in the group, and I started the group with 3 guys when I moved to London.
That's crazy.
And now I'm outside of London, and these guys are like best friends riding every weekend.
That's insane.
So it's really cool, you know, to go somewhere, create a community. A lot of people.
So I was going to say, is this where that kind of that skill set of yours, or that kind of passion about to get kind of driving a community, and we'll obviously touch on the communities that you're on here in Dubai, but is that kind of where it first started off, getting people together and thinking, well, this is all I got is a few people together. And
for sure,
it's
100%. Everything's always better with more people on board that share the same passion. And you know, one thing was I thought it might. I just started as a group of 3-4 of us, just for us to be able to, you know, organize rides together and have fun.
Convenience.
Yeah, for sure. So it's nice to see that it's still going on, and now they're doing their own thing. And I had a beautiful 2 years over there riding, and really made some of my best friends there.
And what happened with the expansion plans to London?
I worked on it for about 2 years, but really after 6 years of being in I would say, low ticket sales industry, it was very hard to scale. I'm extremely grateful. It was
and a new geography, like a new place. It's,
of course,
it's always difficult, right?
100%. But also, I felt like new things will develop me in a new way, and I felt I was hungry for a different challenge. And real estate was always something I was very keen on, because my father had a real estate agency in Croatia while I was growing up. It was always a very small boutique agency with him, maybe 1 or 2 employees. He never really scaled it. But you know, it was enough to provide for our family.
You got oversight over it. You kind of saw.
Oh, I thought, you know, 2-3% commission on selling a property. I thought, why doesn't he sell 10 of them a month? You know, we'd be rich.
Exactly. So did you kick that real estate career off in London, or you thought, no, I'm hopping on that plane going straight to?
I wanted to do it in London, but I started researching a bit about the job, I would say, situation in real estate in London, and I wasn't really happy with the way they set up the commission structure. Because mainly it was on a small salary.
Big shipment from the UK.
Yes.
It's just completely different.
For sure. Of course, and most of them are on like 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 of a salary, and then they have 10% of the entire commission on top of that. So I wasn't happy with that security. I didn't care that much about the salary, but what I cared about was if I bring in a lot of deals, how much from these deals can I take home with me?
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't like.
Seeing back to you being confident in your ability in a commission-only role.
I was confident in it. I worked in a commission-only role for 6 years, so I didn't care. So at a point, actually, interestingly, I wasn't able to, since London was so much more expensive than Croatia, I did earn, I would say a quite above average salary in Croatia. I feel great. I mean, I was living on the 16th floor in Hilton in Zagreb. Top there, I was 18. I had a very nice 70, 80 square meter apartment.
Right.
I know it's not a flex, but I was
landed a bit humbling after that.
a bit. It was also nice, but the thing is, London was much more expensive than Croatia.
Yeah.
So I didn't earn enough money through the business to be able to, I would say, live comfortably. So I literally got a job working at a reception for night shifts.
Okay.
So I worked for 1.5 years night shifts, and then I'd sleep for 3-4 hours and work throughout the whole day on my business. So I was.
That is crazy.
It was tough, to be honest, because I was an entrepreneur for 4 or 5 years, and having to go and get a job. Nothing wrong with working in a reception, but I felt like
I sleep as well.
Oh man, that was tough. I mean, but honestly, I always had energy in me. I think it's just life in general. It's not that much sleep.
Yeah,
I was always driven, and high on life, as they say. So
once again,
I was always chasing that North Star, as you say.
Yeah.
So that was good. It wasn't a full-time thing. It was, I would say, maybe 30-35 hours a week.
Okay.
But I didn't care. I'd do there. It was a very quiet, small hotel. Very boring, to be honest. It wasn't good for mental health because you just sit there for 8 hours doing nothing. During night, it's also tough.
Yeah.
But I kind of took it, for a time for me to continue my personal development.
I was going to say, I think there's two ways to look at that. When you get so much time on your hands and the types of roles, you get two types of avenues that you go down, I guess. It's one is I'm going to save it on my phone and I'm going to watch YouTube videos all day. Or second, this is a great opportunity of just going to say hi to people coming through every now and the rest of the time I can focus on me. Myself. We had a receptionist, actually, it reminds me, I had a receptionist in our building when I was living in London Bridge. And one of our receptionists or concierge in the building, he was studying. Every time we would go past, he would be working more and more and more. And then I got quite into it. And I was seeing his thesis on this. And then I got quite involved. And every time I'd go there and get an update on what's happening with the thesis, what's the thinking here, what's the thinking there. And it's super cool. It's so great to see someone like that taking advantage of the time like you did.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I had to. Otherwise, I would have. It was very tough. It was very boring. And I'm a person that needs to keep myself occupied.
Yeah.
So.
And what triggered Dubai? So now real estate is something that you wanted to get into.
Yes.
You thought London, you looked at the commission structures, wasn't quite what you were looking for. At what point did you cut the ties to say, I'm closing the chapter in London and I'm ready to go do this in Dubai?
To be honest, I think it was a bit of influence from my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
She was, we met at my business. She was in my team in my business.
Okay.
And she shouldn't speak negatively about the business or anything, but I'd say she saw more potential in me.
Okay.
And if it weren't for her, with that little bit of encouragement for me to go and search something else, I probably wouldn't have made the move, because for me, it was very hard. I'm the type of person who, I do something, I finish it. I don't quit on things.
Well, I think BWC have to be very grateful for that decision.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that as well.
Okay.
So that's why after 6 years, if you think about it, I was 16 when I started. So probably half of my conscious life was that business.
Wow.
So I literally had to give up on half of myself in a way.
Yeah.
And move on and use that for something else.
That's difficult.
So that was tough.
At the same time, that's enough motivation to push you. When you're on that next step, you're like, I've given up so much. I've sacrificed so much. I have to make this work. I have to do whatever I can.
For sure. So she was actually with me during a night shift in the hotel, providing company. She was sitting on the chair. We were speaking. And I literally thought, I said, why don't we just let him move to Dubai? Why don't we move to Dubai? Because I was searching real estate opportunities. I saw some things about Dubai come across.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research during my night shifts. I watched videos. I saw the potential. And, I saw advertisements, and they're all putting uncapped commission, 100,000, 200, 500,000 pounds. And I thought to myself, I could do this. I thought, my sales, my leadership, my skills, for sure. If I was able to sell nutrition products and beauty products, I can sell beautiful houses. From when I was 14, 15, I always used to visualize, and I used to go on Sotheby's and whatever, and Christie's, and look at expensive, property listings and think to myself, I want to buy these, but I thought, why don't I sell them?
Yeah.
So I started applying for jobs. I got a few offers, and I thought, let's go.
Because you have quite a good transferable skill set. I mean, now we're sitting on this side of the table and seeing the kind of people that we are interviewing, the type of people that we've seen.
Yeah.
Someone of your journey, commission only role, experience in sales. I mean, it's a perfect fit for the role. Right?
For sure.
And attitude, probably the number one factor.
100%.
And coming in, so it's
100%.
okay. So where's the first jump to?
So the first jump, I accepted an offer. Was literally within 2 weeks of that, we made the move.
Amazing.
So I literally had, because I had 1.5 salaries saved up and a little bit of money from my business saved up. I sold my bicycle. That was like a lump sum of £2,500.
Fantastic. Now let's dive a bit deeper into the Dubai journey, the Dubai chapter and the BWC chapter. So coming into Dubai, was it what you expected? Was real estate what you expected it to be?
Yes and no.
Okay.
To be honest, it's easier than I thought it would be.
Okay, good.
I think it's coming from the industry I was coming. Was a very, I would say, tough industry.
Okay.
Of course, there's maybe more stress involved here because there's more kind of commission in the air, bigger problems to deal with, these kind of things. But overall, it's good because it pays much better, so it's easier to deal with problems.
Was there any kind of mentor in the process? So when you joined real estate, you looked at it, I guess 2 questions. One is, when you came into real estate, what did you think at that stage? Did you identify, separated out a really good agent from a non-performing agent? And secondly, was there a kind of mentor or figurehead or anyone that kind of springs to light in that journey at the beginning that really helped? Or was it all self-taught and all kind of self-driven?
Yeah, so I did get started in a smaller agency. I'm very grateful for everything that, they were able to, I would say, help me with in my first 1.5 years in Dubai's real estate. The boss, one of my bosses over there, he used to do his own deals and he used to be involved with the sales, and I didn't really get much training, to be honest. I got less than 1 hour of training.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff I just took on my own responsibility to learn. Wow. I researched a lot about the developers. I used to go to offices, try to find out. I understood product knowledge is important, so I tried to build that up as soon as I could. I went into, cold calling immediately, so I would set a specific amount of calls I needed to do every day. Even if I didn't know exactly how to handle the calls, I knew the best way to learn is by doing it.
And was that like a certain number that you set your day in the day?
I think it was that I need to speak to 50 people a day. Okay, not 50 calls, but speak to 50 people a day. So I could do 100, 150 calls, but I needed to have an actual conversation. And I focused on calling UK numbers.
Okay.
So I felt comfortable speaking to people from the UK. I felt a bit more relatable to them. They were friendlier. They were very polite, so I thought that was good. Of course. Plus, I thought not a lot of people are probably calling them because they're UK numbers.
Yeah.
So I just started doing calls. I focused on really trying to build a relationship with them. Okay. I didn't really focus on pitching. I try to understand where they are, where they've invested.
Do you think that's where a lot of agents fall short nowadays?
For sure.
They focus on focusing on the prize as opposed to the needs of the clients.
100%. And I enjoyed it. It wasn't hard for me to do cold calls because I didn't go out there as a robot trying to pitch something.
Yeah.
I focused on each person being, each number being a person at the other end.
Yeah, which it is. Yeah,
it is, and trying to just develop a nice conversation with them, find out about their journey of how it's been for them investing in Dubai, where they're currently at, or they're looking to rent, buy or sell.
Yeah.
Even though I was putting off plan, I was happy to do anything, whatever can bring me commission.
And how quickly did that commission come?
So after my first month, I got in touch with the clients through Facebook. So I was doing everything. I was doing calls. I didn't really get any marketing leads for the first few months.
Okay.
So I literally just focused on doing a certain amount of calls. I went on Facebook and I decided to add...
Crazy, Facebook Messenger, that's crazy.
Facebook and Messenger. What I did is I actually added, because for a long time I've always been a car enthusiast.
Okay.
So I was a part of Aston Martin, Porsche, owner groups. So I literally went and I just added people from these groups on Facebook and messaged them saying that if they're ever consider Dubai's real estate as an option, that I'd love to help them in that journey.
And did you see much traction off the back of that?
Not really, but doesn't matter.
Innovative ways to reach people.
100%.
You would have thought that the first year would have come off the back of a Facebook message.
For sure. It was 5-10 minutes a day that I just thought it's putting me in a position in which I'm probable to be lucky in the future. That's what I thought.
And potentially reaching out to audiences that others aren't.
Yeah, for sure. sure, 100% no one was doing that. So plus I had my whole day free. So what else am I gonna do?
Exactly.
It's the best of what I knew, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that. I went through expat groups on Facebook, try to find posts about people asking questions about Dubai's real estate market.
Okay.
I found a lady that was she was asking questions about the Damac flying program.
Okay.
And I decided to reach out to her on Messenger, try to help answer her question. So I try to provide value.
Just trying to push straight away. It's understanding and forming that rapport.
100%. 100%. And she was actually already in touch with Damac directly. So she already had a call with them. She was already keen on purchasing something with them. So
in your mind, potentially going to go direct and...
no, I thought I was confident in my own ability for her to want to deal with me. And that's what I went forward with. I explained to her that if she's working just with a developer, they might be biased and just be offering their product.
Yeah.
I thought, first, I'm going to be able to give you a real objective, non-biased opinion on everything in the market. And if that developer is good, great, we'll go with that developer. But second, also after sales. Everyone can sell you a property, but the real money you're going to be making is in the after sale. Is renting it out, reselling at a profit, and the developer won't be doing that for you. So it's better to be developing that relationship with one key person that can help you throughout your whole real estate journey in Dubai.
Very more.
Especially if they're expats, because they don't have connections here.
Absolutely.
So after speaking to them for quite a while, I gained their trust. I was so close. That was about 6 weeks in to close my first deal. It was a 1.2 million 2-bedroom in Damac Hills 2 at the time. And they were about to pay their EUI and they backed out. Decided to wait.
First learned that the depths of real estate.
Yes, but honestly, I was fine with it because I knew, you know, it will come. It will come. It will come eventually. I only had savings for the first 3 months.
Wow.
So I was literally, I'm either gonna sell something in the next 2 months, or I'm gonna go home, or I'm not gonna go home. I'm gonna sell something.
Make it work.
There's no option.
So how was that? How soon after that 6 week kind of initial client did something actually go through?
I continued to follow up with that client for 3 weeks after that, on a weekly basis. Not only regarding property, but I was sending them the photos about Dubai and about this, and just trying to provide as much value as possible. Whenever I saw an interesting product, I sent it across their way. And one morning, literally, because there's time difference as well, you know, Canada, they were in Canada. So one morning, I just sent them the Mac Lagoons. It's double their budget, but I thought, you know, who knows? And they said, okay, we want this. So, okay, I didn't even believe it's going to happen, right? Crazy. So,
the answer is always no, right?
No, for sure, for sure. So 2 days after that, they ended up paying a booking fee for a 2.552, so 2.5 million 4-bedroom townhouse. So it's good that they didn't buy.
How was that first commission check?
Oh man, it felt like the best. I promise you, I was jumping out of excitement.
Just imagine,
because
I the person you are, I can literally see that.
It was maybe 66,000 dirhams in commission, so about 15,000 pounds. And imagine
my only way like a month left of the savings.
Exactly. And the commission took like 30 days to arrive, so I literally got the commission at the last moment.
That's crazy.
And I was so good. I mean, I earned literally almost a year of what I would have earned working in night shift in a hotel in London, you know.
And that was like after I made a good decision being here.
Oh, imagine after 2 months of making that decision, like literally 9 weeks before that, I was in the hotel doing the night shifts, making that decision.
It's amazing how much someone's life can change coming into real estate. It can go one way or the other, but for people that are putting in the effort, people that are, you know, taking that risk, it's incredible. Within a couple of weeks, your life can change.
100%.
Okay, so after that first deal, things continue. You started to get more into the job, more into the role.
Yes.
And then how did things progress after that? You kind of move through the ranks. You continue to do deals. Were there any kind of dips in that in those couple months?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I did small rentals. I did some company formations through which I earned some commission as well. I started focusing very heavily on developing connections. Actually, very quickly after I moved, I organized my first Lamborghini rally in Dubai.
Amazing.
I didn't even have a driving license.
But I remember this story. How did that start?
So I knew a guy on Instagram, and I was never afraid of reaching out to random people because, as you say, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Absolutely.
So I was just trying to provide value in every way possible, offering people my help, even though I didn't have any connections, but I was willing to go out there and develop those connections.
Cool.
So I offered one guy help that organized the Lamborghini rallies in Italy.
You have a passion for cars, of course. So
for sure.
Brilliant.
So he basically told me if I bring a certain amount of my friends that own Lamborghinis, I had no friends who own Lamborghinis. I don't know anyone in Dubai. But if I bring a certain amount of participants and I organize accommodation for them and I organize the videography and photography, I can participate in the event for free.
Amazing.
And I went out there and I started reaching out to random people that own Lamborghinis. And I actually met one of my best friends like that.
That's crazy. That is.
I found it on Facebook as well.
Wow. What
So-
quite receptive to that? They're like, oh, this sounds cool. I'm keen to give it a go.
Not really, but I failed.
Pushed it anyway.
I brought only one person, but I organized the videography. I did a big part in the organization, and
Yeah.
I participated for free, and it was a pretty cool. It was a 3-day rally. I spent
Epic.
3 days with 15 Lamborghini owners in Dubai.
It's insane. And how's that progressed now into your own club? I want to touch on Group 63.
Yeah, so I mean, cars have always been my passion, and actually, funnily, while trying to find Lamborghini owners, I got in touch with my second best friend, who's local, and he's a guy that runs an AMG owners club called Group 63.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was a big guy in my eyes. He's running his own club, private banker, it's standard chartered, and I literally just reached out to him and I asked him if he's willing to give me some time for a coffee. I would love to learn more about how he does and just learn in general. And I look up to him.
Cool.
And he put me in touch with his personal assistant, for which I scheduled an appointment 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And I went, and after a 2-hour conversation, I learned a lot, developed a good connection with him. Saw him 1 month after, so it was a slow process of building that relationship. He actually referred me to his lawyer, who now is also one of my really good friends. She ended up referring quite a few clients to me across, through which I closed. My best month at that time was selling 3 properties in 3 days, literally.
Yeah.
It was almost £3 million in terms of volume, and
Crazy,
it was
yeah.
about £50,000 in commission.
So it's part of networking as well, through those discussions, through those relationships.
Yeah.
Kind of ties that back to real estate. And
Oh, completely. And sometimes we look at things at a very short time frame, but you never know what leads to something else.
Yeah.
If I would have never reached out to the guy on Instagram and organized the Lamborghini rally, I would have never reached out to random owners, got in touch with him. He would have put me in touch with the lawyer.
pivotal moments.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
So I kind of thought, using I would say, car community, I can get in touch with high net worth individuals throughout Dubai and maybe potentially be in the right place for when their time will come to buy property. And I didn't have a car. I never had a car in my life. I didn't even have my driving license at the point. So as soon as I could, I started, and I felt embarrassed. 23 years old, no driving license. I just never had time or money to complete my driving license.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge car enthusiast, so that was very frustrating.
I can imagine.
So basically, after that, and developing a very good relationship, I provided and developed, provided a lot of value and developed a very good relationship with Khalid, who's my current partner, and best friend here in Dubai, one of the best friends. He basically took me on board, and we started running Group 63 together.
How big is that club today?
We have about 198,000 members.
That's insane.
So it's probably the world's largest AMG owners club.
That's insane. Yeah.
So that's very cool. Yeah.
Huge accomplishments.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's bring it back to real estate and BWC.
Yeah.
I want to hear what first kind of sparked your interest. Tell us about your journey coming into BWC. All the way first kind of initial interactions to, what actually convinced you to, make that leap of faith and this
For sure.
for you.
I always liked a role in management because I was always happy working with people. Plus, I never believed in being anyone's boss. I always believed in leadership, where I'm showing them what to be done.
Yeah.
So I looked as me teaching them, and not something that takes that much time away from me, because I'm doing the right thing and showing them how things need to be done.
Absolutely.
And very quickly, I started working as the sales manager in my previous company and helping the team and trying to grow and provide value. But that was a little tough simply because of their recruitment approach, and in general, I would say their approach towards growing the agency.
Yeah.
So after about a year and a half there, I've definitely felt that I need to make a change in terms of find a better home.
Yeah.
And the right things come at the right time. I got approached from a recruiter from your side, and he mentioned 2 South African owners, very ambitious, young, looking to build the best agency in Dubai. And I thought that sounds great. I'd love
How
to.
was the first interaction when you came into BWC?
When I walked into the office, I thought,
What are your initial impressions?
I thought this office definitely doesn't look like an office of a company who's only been less than a year running.
Yeah.
So I thought they're definitely doing a good job. I saw a team of 20 people out there, happy, good energy, working, and I thought this is the way to do things.
I think we saw the same. I think there was definitely like a similar viewpoints in terms of mindsets with, Jake, Jamie, myself, and the way you thought and approach things. I think there was definitely an overlap in terms of motivational mindset, wanting to push not only ourselves but others to achieve better things and become 1% better every day. And I think definitely for, Jake and I have discussed at length, sitting in that interview process thinking, wow, there's very few people you meet with that kind of a mindset. And it was an incredible first meeting, I thought.
Thank you. I thought the same, really. After meeting you, Jamie, Jake, I fell in love with your energy, your enthusiasm. I thought these people also have a lot of energy like I do, and a lot of
not as much as anybody. And then joining, coming into the team, and what were your thoughts in terms of how were you going to approach this new role? You obviously came in as the off-plan sales director.
Yeah.
We didn't have much of an off-plan division before.
Yeah.
So you were coming in with the role of kind of building out that team, spearheading it from the front. How did you feel going into that role, and what do you think was important to make it successful from the start?
I was super excited, to be honest. I looked at it as a clean slate with good support, with amazing fundamentals and foundation.
Yeah.
I loved the culture training, Jake did for me regarding the pillars and the values and I would say the innovation and people and approach towards, I would say, building the agency. And I loved your idea about creating an agency with a startup culture, but a professionalism of a corporate environment.
Absolutely.
And I thought that I would really be able to contribute as well. I thought with my energy, with my work ethic, with my approach, it can really develop a good off-plan team. And of course, naturally, it developed, I believe, quite quickly into a really good team of now 7-8 of us.
Absolutely. So it's been a fantastic job, right? 7-8 people within the first 2 months of being here. Within your first month of joining the business, you're the top biller of the month.
So that's quite cool.
Which is massive. So I think we're very fortunate to have you on board here at BWC.
I feel equal.
It's an absolute pleasure working alongside you. But before we wrap this up, I've got a couple questions that I want to touch on, if that's all right.
Of course.
But out of the ordinary. So I know we've discussed a lot of the professional careers. So let's lighten up the mood a bit with a couple. I've got 3 questions for you.
Okay.
So I've been given a list here of potential questions. So I've selected 3, which I would really like an answer from. So first being, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? And why?
Jim Rohn.
Why?
Jim Rohn. From when I was 14 years old, I started listening to his podcasts, his videos, his books, and he's the person who developed. He was my best friend who I never had the chance to meet.
I love that.
I knew everything about him. He probably would have thought I'm weird as hell if he knew how much I knew about his life. But I think that's the best way to do it. You study success and you duplicate it in your own creative way. So I think having a conversation with him, his philanthropic approach towards life and the way he simplifies, life lessons through business and through sales is really unbelievable. So I would love to have dinner with him. He passed away, unfortunately, 2009, but he continues to live in his preaching.
I like that. Well, I think kind of knowing the type of person you are, you can see, the way that you speak and the way that you kind of portray messages and inspire and motivate people, I think is definitely kind of sponged up that information and you're able to kind of replicate that yourself.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Second question. What piece of advice would you give your younger self? What piece of advice do you wish you could have given your younger self?
Could have given.
Yeah. So now in retrospect, if you look back to your younger self and think there's something that I could tell myself something at a young age, what would that be?
Is it what I would have done differently?
Yeah.
In a way?
Yeah. Well, it taught yourself. So, now knowing the things that you do, walking the path that you've walked, going back to, a more younger and naive age, what would you have told yourself?
To be honest, I wouldn't have changed anything. I do believe everything leads to another.
And happens for a reason.
If I had to give myself maybe a bit of encouragement to just keep my head up through tough times, is that I always believe that if you really, really want something, you'll get it.
Yeah.
So just find something you really want, and that's it.
If you can believe it and you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
For sure. 90% of it is not achieving it. It's actually finding something that you love and want so greatly that doing it and achieving it is not even an option. You will do it.
And the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay, final question for the day. If you could relive one moment in your life, which moment would you choose? Is there a standout moment in your life that you'd love to go back to? Or is there any specific moment that jumps out that you reflect back on as a place of success or happiness or joy?
It's hard to say because I have had so many amazing moments.
What about that first Maserati purchase?
Oh, that was pretty cool. That was pretty nice. Yeah,
That's actually quite a difficult question. Can I ask a different question?
That's tough. Yeah,
As I said it, I'm like, oh shit.
Well, I cannot fucking answer that.
Yeah.
I don't want it to last another 30 minutes.
You had to. Okay, with that one's you've kind of answered. Your biggest risk. I don't want to ask that because your whole life's a risk.
Being bored, bro.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of fun one. Okay, so final question of the day is, if your house is burning down and you're allowed to take 3 items, what would they be?
First thing that comes up in mind is I don't have a dog, but my dog. Okay. I currently don't have a girlfriend, but my girlfriend. Yeah. And probably my keys for my Maserati.
I love that. Well, thanks for your time, bro. That was fantastic. I love that. Absolute pleasure.